In the previous video, we looked at some of the basic operations involving matrices, and now we want to take a look at one of them that's a little more complex but still straightforward if we look at an example in detail here. So we're going to look at matrix multiplication. The two rules here are that if we have a matrix C and it's equal to A times B, the sizes are given down here below. The rule number one is that the number of columns in A, which is n here, has to equal the number of rows in B, which is P. And then the product has the same number of rows as A and the same number of columns as B. So if we can multiply A times B, R will end up being M and S will end up being size Q. The general form here is a summation of the products of AIK times BKJ, where n is the number of columns in A, which is also the same as the number of rows in B. So let's look at an example here. If we have a matrix A that's a 2 by 2 and a matrix B that's a 2 by 3, n is 2, P is 2, so we can multiply A times B. So this operation is possible. So the resulting product will end up being a 2 by 3. So we have that shown here. So let's look at the general form here. So when we're looking at Cij, what we're actually going to accomplish is multiplying row I by column j. So when you take a row vector times a column vector, this is the same as a dot product, and you end up with a scalar. So for C11, what we want to do is take row 1 from A times column 1 from B, and we do that by multiplying the 2 times the negative 2 plus the 3 times the 5. If we look at the general form here, Cij equals the sum from k equals 1 to n of AIK BKJ. We plug in I of 1 and j of 1, and we end up summing over two terms here. So if we expand the summation, we get A11 times B11 plus A12 times B21. And again, if you do that, you get 2 times negative 2 plus 3 times 5 and end up with 11 here. So that is the value of C11. If we go to C12, it's row 1 times column 2. Same general form here. We end up with 2 times 1 plus 3 times 3, which is also 11. C13 is row 1 times column 3. So we have 2 times 1 plus 3 times negative 2, which is negative 4. C21, we take row 2 from matrix A times column 1 from B. 4 times negative 2 plus 5 times 5 is 17. And then 2 is row 2 times column 2, we get 19. And then 3 is row 2 times column 3, so 4 times 1 plus 5 times negative 2 is negative 6. So the final product, which is matrix C, is equal to this 2 by 3 as shown here.